You're here for your blessing grace. Andy and Claire, family, friends, and loved ones gathered here today. In your presence, we ask for your holy blessings upon this meal. Together we say, Amen.
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 God's peace.
So I'm going to give a toast, right, Claire?
Yep.
Okay. So I wrote a couple things down. I've struggled with trying to put things together so they flow very well, and I might get a little emotional here, as I almost did as you walked down the aisle, Claire, because you were so beautiful. But first of all, I want to thank everybody that was able to make it today. All my kids, it means a lot for all of you to be here. Nick, you flew all the way from Thailand to be here. That's impressive, so thank you very much. Wenceslas, thank you for being here. All of the Christiansons, Grandma, it's great to see you. And it's nice to meet the Christiansons finally. I've always wondered what you're like, and maybe you wondered the same thing about us, but it's I can see where Claire gets all her joy from and her personality, and thank you very much. You know, Sarah, how many years ago did we get married?
Why are you asking her?
I'll put the pressure on. It's part of the speech, Maddie.
33 or 34.
33 years ago, 7 months and 26 days,
Oh.
and 6 hours.
Did you have that written down? Claire, he's showing off. Good job.
I know it. It's fact.
Check the math.
Listen, can I continue?
29.
Yeah, sorry.
33 years, 7 months, 26 days. When we first met Claire, I said, well, is this, we were talking, is she the one? I don't know, we'll see. So we just got a brand new sailboat. We put her out in the water. Andy, Sarah, and Claire out there, what do? They sink the sailboat. Claire gets rowed, some stranger in a boat brings her back to the dock, her eyes were this big. Andy, they fell in the water. I'm like, well, I know they both know how to swim. So she would certainly go get us. Let's just wait and see what happens. So she handled that pretty well. So then I was like, then she passed the first test. And then the second test that told me that Claire was going to be the one is where Andy was supposed to fly somewhere to meet her, and he missed the flight. Iowa.
Yeah, we can
And instead of missing the whole occasion, he went and ran to the car and he drove all the way down to Iowa to surprise Claire. Sarah and I looked at each other and said, I think he really likes her. Claire, we're glad to have you in the family. Andy, we're very proud of you, who you've become. You've always been an independent, strong man. And the thing that I really admire about you is, well, you're very thoughtful, and you're very kind. And I think you guys are going to make a great pair. So I'm very proud of you. So I was trying to think of some advice, and I thought, well, I work in an assisted living memory care. Maddie, where I am. Some of these people, you know, I interviewed them, they've been married for 65, 70 years. So I went to them and I asked for some advice. Here's their advice to you. Number 1, listen to each other. Number 2, never give up. Number 3, compromise. And number 4, never go to bed angry. If you can. Good luck with that one. My advice to you, Andy, is I'm going to give you 7 words of advice. Here they are. Honey, you are right. I was wrong. You can always follow it up with, I'm sorry. But in all seriousness, you know, communicate. Andy, I know you used to call him Boo when he was a kid because he didn't say boo. And communicate. Always talk to each other. And respect each other, and be fine. So before I give the final toast, here's our toast. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a poet. So when I was a principal, I would write a poem for every teacher or person that would retire. So I wrote a poem for you guys. Here we go. It's very, very technical, so hang on.
Let's go, Dad.
Roses are red. Violets are blue. Mr. and Mrs. Stever, congratulations to you. So today starts a journey between Andy and Claire. It's a journey of highs and lows, so always beware. Life may throw you some struggles at times, but together you will conquer and be divine. So raise a glass, and here's the toast. To Andy and Claire, we wish you the most.
Cheers!
Cheers! Good job, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
So, gosh, to have everybody in the room together right now, I know people traveled, you gave up your own time to be here. It's just an emotional joy to me to look at all your faces, and I can't appreciate you enough. And then I went on to Thoughts Back, and I remember we were 30 when we started our family, and we were expecting, and we announced it, and people said, do you want a boy or a girl? And I always said, boy, oh boy, do I want a girl. I didn't think I'd ever get a girl. He only has brothers, I only have brothers. I never thought I'd get a daughter, and I did right off the bat. And she was perfect. She's everything I ever wanted in a daughter. She was kind and smart and fun and beautiful. And she exceeded my dreams of having a daughter. And she just kind of, I don't think we had anything to do with how she turned out. I just think she did that. Because
That's not true.
I'm not that great a person to raise this. Yeah, so I had to have you here, Ben. I wanted you to know I'm not. And then, you know, Andy came into the picture, and we're here last Thanksgiving, and they were engaged, and Dean says to Andy, Andy, we're sure excited to have you be a part of our family. And Claire looks at him and says, but are you? Or Andy says yes, yeah, I'm excited to be a part of the family. And Claire looks at him right in front of us and says, but are you really? And you know, he never answered that. And all I could think of is, Claire, we're right here, I'm so happy you are a part of our family. I don't care if you want to be or not. You're in. And if you choose to have a family, and if you're blessed with a family, boy, oh boy, I hope they're redheads. I love you both, and cheers. Good job. I love you.
That's beautiful. Love you, Mom.
And I love you too.
Who wants to go next?
I really did picture having a microphone, so thank you. Dad was doing it without the microphone. I'm like, what am I going to do? Hold a fork? Pretend? So I have been thinking about this for a long time, and now that I am married and have a house and a community that I live in, I find myself missing my family more than I used to as a younger person. And thinking about you guys, I was like, what am I gonna say? My family and I, we've spread out, we travel a lot. All my brothers have taken off, I've taken off. And we're lucky to have such loving parents who call us home so that we can spend time together. And when I think of my little brother, I do get emotional because I spent so much of my childhood chasing my two older brothers around, trying to fit in with them and do everything they would do. And I would always be able to fall back on Andy. And, you know, he was there to be like, told you so. But he was also the one who played all the princess games with me when they got older. Yes, I would get my neighborhood girls together, and they were older, so they were like, we're done, you know, you're kind of annoying. And they would go off, and when I wasn't breaking bones or scraping my knees with them, I was dragging Andy around, bossing him around, telling him what to do. And he would do everything I said. He would play the games I wanted to play, and I got to be the star. And as we got older and Andy started dating, I felt very protective and territorial because I knew how kind-hearted Andy is. Really annoying. He's the most annoying guy for a sister to have. This is how I tell stories, by the way. I go like this, and then I get to the end. I swear it's worth it for most people. But anyways, Andy, I've said this so many times, but he is the best of all of us. He learned from 3 older siblings and watched us do things, and he was so smart all the time, and it made me mad because I was like, how did you think of that? Like hiding, he would always hide desserts, and when we thought all the good stuff was gone, he'd come out with his popsicle, and we're like, where'd you find that? He's like, I got tricks, you know. So just always intelligent in that way. And, you know, when Andy cares about someone, you know that he cares, and he's very thoughtful. And I don't even remember the point of, like, where I was trying to get to. But the last thing I did want to say was actually about Claire. I used to beg my parents for a sister. I grew up with these boys, and I was just like, I just want someone who understands me a little bit better. And my parents were like, nah, we're done. We had 4. We're good. And I didn't even know where babies came from. So I was like, can't you just whip that up for me? So Andy kind of, you know, as a younger guy, like, just played with me a lot. But Claire, I am so grateful and happy to finally have a sister. And I know that we live eons apart, but I'm just so excited that you're stuck with us and you're stuck with me, and we get to know each other more, and I get to call you my sister-in-law. It's really a big thing for me. And I think my parents know too how much I begged for a sister. So it's just really exciting to me and my family that Andy found someone as wholesome as him. Oh, and I say that, so isn't that nice of me to say? No, Andy knows he's not totally wholesome, but he tries. But he found his better half, and we're just so excited for you. And I get emotional looking at you guys because you truthfully do follow your dreams and support each other in the best way. And this whole time, I was like, what? I've been married 2 years. Am I supposed to share my wisdom with you? And it's honestly what everyone said. People who've been married longer, you don't realize the ebbs and flows and the love that overwhelms you sometimes when you look at your best friend. Like, I look at mine, and I just couldn't do life with anyone else. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for becoming my sister. Because I know you don't have one either. I know you have your cousin, but I'm so glad to have you. So thank you.
Check 1 2.
I don't know how we're gonna feel about this.
Oh, hold on. Time out. We're back. Do I really need this thing? You can hear me, right? Oh, it's for. I got you, dog. Maddie pretty much hit everything on the nail on the head. Like, it was. He's a dweeb. He's 100% a dweeb. We love him. You know, and it, you know, honestly, if it wasn't for him, if you haven't figured it out yet, for you that don't know our family, I'm the black sheep, the loser.
No way.
Right? Can't drive, can't do the, you know, there's a lot of things going on here, but it was, I mean, in all honesty, it was about 5 years ago, Andy called me up and he goes, "Hey, stupid." And I'm like, well, excuse my French, I cuss a lot, I look like shit. But anyway, he goes, "Hey, stupid." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You're coming to work with me." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm a youper, I do what I do, I'm broke, whatever." He goes, "Nope, you're coming, let's go. You're going to Cleveland, my boss is calling you." And his boss called me, and I kind of told him F off, and it was a weird scenario. Long story short, we went down. I worked with Andy for 2 weeks, and he got me on the right track. He's 100% smarter than me. Not as good looking, but 100% smarter. and set me up in life. It was weird. It was a weird thing, you know? And he goes, you do what I tell you, you're going to be fine. Blah, blah, blah. Got me on the right track. Nick kind of, you know, Maddie, they all tried. But for some reason, he got it working, right? So I have to thank him very much for that in life and whatever. And for anybody to put up with him, Claire, is just amazing. I mean, I don't know how, like, it's just, you're amazing. You have to be that much more amazing than he is to deal with that. So, you know, you guys are both awesome. I don't know Claire that well, but I can only imagine. And I wish you the best. And congratulations. Yeah. Who wants the red light? Absolutely.
Oh gosh. I did not prepare anything. Much like Ben, I don't know Andy super well. He's put up with a few trips with me visiting Claire, which is never easy. But Claire and I have known each other since, of course, we were babies, which was pretty amazing when she moved out to Oregon. That was the last thing I would have ever thought she would do, considering any time she came to sleep over. Never failed. About in the middle of the night, there'd be tears and begging my parents to take her home.
I'll go and walk up and down the hallway with her, trying to talk her into staying.
Yep. So when she moved across the country, I was a little upset she was leaving me, considering we grew up together. We were college roommates, spent pretty much every waking moment of our lives together up until that point. But nonetheless, I was excited for her to leave and grow and become the wonderful woman that she is today. I think all I just want to say is that I wish you guys a lifetime of happiness and just good luck on your future endeavors, and please come back to the Midwest.
Look at their red faces. They're like, oh gosh. Hey, Dad and Grandma, you're left.
Grandma goes. Grandma.
Go for it, Grandma.
We want you to go before you have too much to do.
She's getting wild over here.
Where's your little toy?
It just is, I think it picks up the sound for the video.
Just hold it, Mom. You don't have to hold it to your mouth. I don't need it.
I have a crib sheet. If you want to go to sleep, you can start now. And first, I want to tell you about the day she was born, how thrilled we were, and we were all ready to go to, we're from Iowa. We had to go to Illinois to a wedding, but we stopped by the way of the hospital before we left because we wanted to see that new beautiful little girl. And was she ever beautiful? I can't describe her. Anyway, we had to find out her name because they had not told us ahead. I think one knew it was a girl and one wasn't supposed to know what it was. But I think he caught on because he saw a lot of pink clothes.
Garage sales had more pink than blue.
Anyway, she was named Claire Christine Christensen. What a long name, but there was a reason. C. She had to keep that C no matter what happened, like today. And she was a shy, sensitive little girl growing up. And I always thought she was perfect, and she still is. But I had to move out of my house after I'd been there over 60 years, and I was throwing away thank you notes I'd received from school kids because I had gone with my spinning wheel and some weaving stuff and was demonstrating, and then their teachers always made them write a thank you note. And this one popped out as I was burning all the others, so it must have meant I was to keep it. It's from Claire. April 3rd, 2003. Dear Grandma, thank you for sharing about spinning and weaving. I'm glad you ate lunch with me. Today at recess, right after you left, I went outside and Rocky, that's Dean's dog, was out there chasing everyone. We had to go inside. I cried. And I told you she was sensitive and shy, so you can imagine. And then it goes on, Marcy was picking up Taylor. So she called my mom and she picked him up. She said, it was okay. Love, your granddaughter, Claire. Isn't that sweet? I'll give this to you later, Claire. Anyway, it was fun watching Claire grow up. She was a dancer. She started when she was 3 years old. Are you still dancing? She danced with these girls. They took dancing lessons together forever, and I didn't miss a single one of her events except one. She was a junior in high school, and it was recital time, and I was crying in a hospital 100 miles away because I couldn't be there. Anyway, she finally graduated. She graduated from college, and she took off like we were so shocked. She came out here, but she met, pretty soon we heard this name, Andy. Yeah. And the first, I had to see a picture of him, so she emailed me a picture. And my response was, oh, it's sure good to see he isn't covered with tattoos. And then she brought him eventually to Iowa and out to the farm. It was COVID time. They sat under the evergreen tree, and we sat on the back porch steps. But as they left, Andy looked over his shoulder with that cute little grin. He said, next time, I'll give you a hug. Believe me, I got that hug. I think he forgot, but I hadn't.
Your wedding, Mom. It was at Kelly's wedding. You got your hug.
That's right. Yeah. It was. It felt good too, Andy. I hope I get some more. Well, now today, we've all watched Claire give up her C for Christensen, and now it is Claire Christine Christensen Stieber. Did I say it right? Yes. And she'll always have that C, right? So I wish you both the greatest next era of your life. And I'll be there no matter where I am looking at you.
Dino, I think it's you.
I just, he spent 3 days writing the speech. He outlines it, he practices it, he tweaks it.
I'm a little anal, okay?
He's a Christian. And he is yeah.
So we're expecting some good stuff.
Yeah, boy, no pressure now.
No pressure. He asked me, he goes, I got to make sure I don't overlap what you talk about. I go, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Until I stand up. And I really didn't.
Did she say it word for word?
Yeah, it was all impromptu. Yeah, I get nervous.
Well, let's do this. I thought I was the leadoff man, so I'm a little out of sync here. But obviously you've all met me, but I'm Dean. And for 27 years I've looked forward to this date of being the father of the bride. It was a long time coming, but it came like that. But the big thing is, father of the bride is not as important as 27 years of being your father. You have made me so proud. Mike, Sarah, I'm going to burn the place down. It took us forever to meet, but man, what a family. All of you. What a lucky man you are.
Minus me.
The first time I met Andy, I thought, wow, that guy's got some moral character. I wonder where that came from. Now I know. You are an amazing family. All of you. Well. Yeah. Now, why did you think I was looking at you? Got to be a little bit of a downer here, but nobody's mentioned loved ones that can't be here. We have to recognize those. I'm going to leave everybody to think to themselves, the ones that aren't here. Claire, your grandpas, your grandmas. But they're here. And your brother's here. You've all met her, but here's the hero of my life.
I couldn't have been luckier.
We decided the second we heard they were going to get married, that Belva was going to be here one way or the other. And here she is. She's been dealt a couple of tough blows in life, but man, she doesn't give a damn.
Yes, I do.
All her friends call her Go-Go Belva. There's a reason for that. You ought to see her in Esteghlal. She goes and she goes. She leaves the house at first light and she comes home after dark, and that's not kidding.
The doctor told me to keep doing it.
There's no excuse.
When Denise and I have a tough day, feel like we've been beat up a little bit, we have to say, we need a good dose of Belva. Because Belva never looks back. Never complains. Oh boy, Claire. Man, what a girl. We brought Claire home from the hospital, and I'm not going to drag this out too long, but Claire was not a sleeper. She still doesn't sleep. Annie, does she sleep?
Sometimes.
We were new parents, and we did all this, and we did all that. We were both still working. No sleep for months, I swear to God. And one night, we were going to go by the book. We were going to let her cry it out. Remember that?
She was.
3 a.m. came. Our stomachs were tied up in knots. We were a mess.
At that point, I had taken a little laundry out and hung it on the neighbor's door. I'd be at 1 in the morning for groceries so I could hear her.
But 3 a.m. we caved. And we picked you up, and we held you. And you cooed. And we decided maybe the books aren't right.
Now she's yours, Ian.
I still cry until 3 a.m.
Claire and I did math problems through J-High and into high school. Algebra wasn't her thing, but she got it. And it was very satisfying because we spent hours working together on math.
Thankfully, she's married to Andy.
You don't gotta worry about it anymore.
I think I
But you're an engineer.
So I think it was 7th grade. Was it 8th grade? You did the trip out here with your young friends? Mackenzie?
Yeah.
7th grade probably? Well, she jumped on a plane. She flew out here. She wasn't going to meet up with her friends until she got here, correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Well, I got a school demolition job going at the time. I'm on the 3rd floor of an all-concrete masonry schoolhouse. And we're tearing that thing down. We got jackhammers going. We got track hose going, clawing that thing apart. And my phone rings. And somehow I heard it. It's my daughter sobbing. We had paid money to get an airline chaperone to meet her at each gate. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. So there's my daughter. Dad, I don't know what to do. Well, it took about 60 seconds. She calmed down. I told her how to look for the gate, and it went off without a hitch. And you know what? She's been traveling ever since. There's, of course, the typical story of dropping her off at the dorm. We don't even need to go into that. That was a mess for me. The job interview out here at Vancouver. Oh boy. And she just about slept through her return flight. I don't know if any of you guys remember it. Maybe Sarah and Mike do. The old O.J. Simpson, before he was bad news. He was running through the airport. Well, I had visions of my daughter doing that. Because she missed her, she was that close to missing her flight. And she didn't have the cash to buy another ticket. None of this compares when she said, Dad, I'm going to India for a month. I'm thinking, I'm not worldly, but India's got to be a third world country. Christianity doesn't exist. And, oh my God, my young little blonde daughter is going over there. Well, she made it through, but Dad struggled. I don't know, Mom probably struggled too, but not as much as me.
I was good. The hard part was she met Andy right before she went. The last thing she wanted to do was leave the country. She had this cute kid.
All right, I'm going to finish up quick. You guys are getting bored, but Andy, wow. The first time we met, I thought, wow, there's a very conservative, safe young man. It is true, Claire. But Andy did live on the edge a little bit. With Denise's prodding, she wouldn't give up until Denise got to drive Andy's vet. I just remember they're pulling out of the driveway. I'm thinking, how in the hell is my homeowner's going to cover that?
From day one.
That was tough.
Andy, she's not a good driver.
Ben.
Nothing. I did the same thing for mine. Never mind.
But the trip did go off without a hitch.
That was fun.
It was fun.
I shifted smoothly. Yeah. He said she is a smooth shifter.
Oh yeah, she's smooth. Yep.
You
Then
hit that curve though.
Oh.
I did not hit a curve. I believe you, Denise. That was your wonky driveway. I didn't come in at an angle.
Then Andy and Claire came back last summer, of course, and I kind of thought it was coming, but I wasn't sure. We just got back. We went out to eat by boat. We came back. I'm lifting the boat hoist up, and I always have to lift your boats up out of the water because the wind will blow them away. I'm hooking stuff up because of this and that, because I cobble everything together, and Andy bends down. He goes, Dean? He goes like this. He says, I want to ask you to marry your daughter. I didn't have to think too hard about that.
Shone the light too.
You did. Very impressive. Anyway, my advice. I'm not going to give you much because you don't need it. Neither one of you. You've got life figured out. But I haven't done that much in life to warrant giving you too much advice. But I do have a little bit of school of hard knocks in me. There's a saying that you got to love yourself before you can love somebody else. And that's very, very true. But you always, always have to be empathetic to the other person. If you do nothing else, think of the other person first. Everything else is minor. Not every day is going to be bliss. We all know that. Difficult times are going to come. But if you two stick together, they're going to be cement instead of a jackhammer. See that tie-in there? Ask each other's opinion. Don't just do things on their own. Took me 25 years to figure it out. But I am my father, and my father did whatever he damn well pleased. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You're going to hit walls sometimes, and you're going to need help. You got that family. You got this family. You have a friend. Oh my gosh.
One person not of blood in this room.
But she's like,
oh yeah.
Rely on each other. That goes without saying. I guess the big thing is you each have your own strengths, and hopefully they're in opposite directions, because you're going to have to lean on each other. When you got to shield the other, you stand in front of the other one with your strengths and you shield that person. And hopefully when the next issue comes up, maybe you can switch sides. That's something Denise and I have learned.
it just kind of happens. So much is out of our control, isn't it?
Well, and finally, another toast. Boy, this group, we need one more reason for a toast. The bond between a father and a daughter transcends anything that's tangible. I can't even begin to tell you the bond between us. You probably don't even realize it. But I hope that that bond in some way replicates itself between you two. May you feel the strength of your family, past and present. You always have that strength. Know that you are loved. And may you always know that you may take refuge in all of us. You always have a home, wherever you end up, unless it's India. You're not going back. Cheers.
Dad, can I keep those?
They won't make much sense to you.